This is going to be taking a look at the LA Gladiators versus the LA Valiant on Temple of Anubis. We have a somewhat common strat with the boosted Orisa and Widow composition being played by the LA Valiant on defense. Pretty standard kind of mercy dive out of the LA Gladiators, but we're going to see some interesting tactical adjustments that the Gladiators bring. So just a quick rundown of the strategy. You have a boosted Orisa here with friends. This is to protect your Widowmaker and make it basically impossible for the offense to bring a Widow. Typically, offensive Widowmakers want to set up right here so that they have line of sight and control over the point in most of the first area. But by putting the shield here and the Widow here, you basically deny that opportunity, and there's not a lot of other places the Widow can set up, and it's just makes it so unfavorable to run the Widow on offense that teams basically don't do it. Over here you can see Agilities, Kariv on the Zenyatta's back here, and you'll see the Soon on Widow kind of rotate between this high ground and the high ground across. So one of the things that makes this strategy very strong is that you get a lot of entry frags. You have this tight choke that the offense has to come through, and that's where you get a lot of picks with Widowmaker, a lot of picks with Junkrat, and it requires a lot of setup from the offense to even get into a position where they can attack this space here. This is very far back from the choke. Teams have to come in and go around somewhere. Like, it's a long travel time, and during that travel time they're very open and very exposed to being picked off by these offense heroes. So if we go to the top-down map, just a quick explanation. The Orisa is set up here. You have the Junkrat here, the Zenyatta here. Teams will pretty much always push this side because you need to spend resources like Defense Matrix and Bubble to get through here. Then you can regroup inside this area. If you go in through here, you can regroup in this tiny room, but you're still under pressure from the Junkrat, and then you have to spend even more resources getting through here. So it's pretty much always the offense going in through the left side. This also gives you access with your higher mobility characters to the arches here, and that lets you get back here, and you can set up a nice big flank to attack the high ground. So if you have a Genji or a Winston or a D.Va that gets around back here, your other divers over here, and Tracers typically like to come up to the high ground this way, then what you have is 3 options to attack this high ground kind of entrenched position. So we see the Gladiators, they're setting this up. What they're doing, they pop the bubble here, everyone goes in here, and this is actually really nicely timed because everyone gets safe on this side here, but you notice Surefour also uses the opportunity while the Widow Soon is distracted looking over at the main group. He kind of sneaks in and then gets around here. So there's the blink, he's in. So now Soon rotates over here. This is really smart move. It cuts off, you get this nice LOS into this room, so if anyone's going up and into there, you can usually see them and you're aware of where they are and also have the potential to get that pick. But what LA does is a very smart rotation that we haven't seen yet. This is probably something that they've thought about in practice because Valiant likes to run this Orisa strategy. They've used it every other time they've played Temple on this stage. So against the Seoul and Shanghai in week 1. And what they end up doing is instead of going around the side and then trying to get up to the high ground, they go around and they come over top this ledge here. You can see Bishu's outline there, and Fisher and Hydration and Big Goose are all going to follow him. They're going to go up and over and then hug the wall of this island here. So you can see the outlines there. They're coming up and over. They drop down. And what this lets them do is set up their dive right underneath this bridge here. And it's much, much, much closer to be able to attack this high ground or the high ground over here. And they've done it in a way where they've taken they haven't exposed themselves to being picked off from the Widow or from the Junkrat. So right now, You have Space and Fate up here. Everyone else from the Valiant is on this platform here. Agility's rotated back, because obviously if your Junkrat's way up at the front over there, he's very exposed to getting dived. So you have Agilities, Custa, Kariv, and Soon all over here. Tanks over here. And basically everyone from the Gladiators is here, and Chaz is just chilling. He's basically doing the same thing that Surefour is doing. He's waiting for the rest of his team to provide a distraction so that he can get into position. Because if he just wanders out here, he's going to die. So we see, gets noticed, but instantly you have this big dive come in. All 4 members that were there, and actually Surefour's, you'll see him shoot out here. So there's 5 members from the Gladiators all just converging on this top platform. Agilities dies pretty instantly. You can see now Shaz is able to set up on the island. So Shaz comes out of hiding over here and sets up here, and it gives him nice LOS to like this entire area over here. And then it's just clean up. If we just roll back a little. Agilities gets deleted. They get Space's suit very fast, and then while Hydration is kind of dealing with this with Surefour, the tanks get cleaned up on the other platform. And it's just a really, really good setup to a unknown situation. It's something new, and it's something where you know that your opponent is very likely to run the strategy, and then you have a counter strat to it. So you're seeing that more tailored strategies for specific opponents popping up now that there's more and more footage of teams playing, and you get more indications of how they like to play maps.